Hello there, this is Austyn Wiles. This is March 29th, and this is my weekly update on my Unreal Engine project. I think I'm calling it now the Unreal Fantasy project. So for now, let's just go over everything I've done so far. So obviously, as I said before, this is the hub area. This would be like where you access all the various levels, or at least like the first few levels for now. This would be the spawning in point, and you would be able to greet other characters and get some optional dialogue choices and such from them. Right here would be a weapon, not a weapon, but this would be a place where you could like hold equipment, and originally I thought of it as a farm, but I'm still kind of working on it. This is just kind of placeholder. Everything for now is placeholders. This grass, for instance, I'm not really a huge fan of it, and I don't like the way it looks, so for now it's just placeholders. But this area right here is supposed to be kind of a river or a ravine, so you would just like walk across it. All the white blocks are meant to be like pretty much the sidewalk, so it'd be kind of like where other townsfolk would navigate and walk around. The center area would be kind of like an area that you would teleport to, so like once you complete a level, you would be teleported right back here, and it kind of could be like a center area as well to like character customize and such like that. And actually, speaking of which, this right here is the Tavern. It's not modeled yet. I still got like a lot of work to do on it, and I'm not a huge fan of the temporary asset I have used. Actually, it does look pretty good here for the most part. Just needs to be resized and such. But yeah, I found this like old Asian like kind of housing area. I like the way it looks, and so the idea was that downstairs would be where you would get quests to interact with all these various people, and like specifically you would have like shopkeepers and stuff right here. And right here would be where you could like actually lay down, rest, and like either wait for the day to pass and get some other optional areas at night, and also to heal yourself. And speaking of shops right here, I haven't really done much work on this yet just because of like other priorities that I'll get to later. But this would be the actual main shop area. So like on this section would be like fruits and like various health items and like status effect items. And this one right here would be weapons and such like that. I kind of do want to encourage though the game that whenever I do implement a combat system, that you would be more focused on like getting items through missions and also enemy drops, just because I think that's a more interesting way than just outright buying it, but the shop would be there to like be able to get items. And so for now, I guess like moving on from that, I guess I'll showcase off the first area. This one right here, this is meant to showcase how to like double jump in the game. So boom, boom, like 1, 2. You can do it at various heights. It's nothing crazy, but it's good for what it is now, and I do want to update it later. But this area is not finished, but it is mostly finished. I do have the rough idea of it. I just got to put a few more blocks in. But yeah, originally this was going to be an outdoors-y environment, and you would be like essentially going through like a forest and would feel safer. I kind of decided to go for the opposite approach just because I think it's a bit more interesting to do like weird man-made environments that look a bit enclosed and feel claustrophobic. So one other thing is the fact that the lighting system, it's just using like kind of default lights. I want to change these torches, but for now it's like they're functional for what they are, and they do get across the atmosphere, and that's like a completely dark environment. So obviously, boom, boom, you have to double jump to like get across this gap. Same thing with all these blocks. If you just jump regularly, you can't jump up. So boom, boom. Similarly, and this is actually where you'd be introduced to the more like supernatural elements of this. Like these blocks are being floated on by just chains right here, like just chains floating in the air. And because they're actually like have collision on them, this one you could either jump across it or you could simply walk across it. And similarly, like this one right here. But it's honestly with this one, it's safer to just double jump. And this is the end of the environment, but sort of inspired by both the Borderlands and also Jak and Daxter. I know those are two complete different examples to get, but stick with me here. Is the fact that this would be like the first time you go to the area, is you would end up right here. And as you can see, there's like a little entrance right here, and this like giant circle that just goes down endlessly right here. Well, the idea I kind of had was when you go back for more missions, you can like this level will like open up and you'll see like some more paths like open across there. But in addition, you would have like eventually like this would turn into an elevator, and right here this would turn into a portal that leads you to another like sort of area similar to this, but with different obstacles and such. And when I get enemies like implemented into this game, you would encounter that like enemies. So now that this area is done, and also like normally when you complete an area, there would be like fast travel systems, because I do think that's like important for like bigger games to have some form of fast travel, but obviously it's not implemented now. So for now, like that's just what this is. And then moving on from that, this would be where level 2 is. You can kind of see some of the, like, honestly, some of this stuff is just here for placeholders. I'm not really a huge fan of this giant rock here. It serves its purpose, though, in terms of, like, blocking off the player from just jumping off the terrain. But it's not really, like, as you can see, it's, like, missing stuff. Missing objects and such. I need to find just a better rock texture as a whole. I think I might end up just using these, like, rocks that were... These rocks are provided from the Infinity Engine assets, so I think I'm just going to use that. Similarly, like, all these assets were taken from, like, other sources. I'll be sure to credit when I do actually get this game finally finished. But for now, they're good placeholders and such. But before I go on to that rock area, just because it's not, there's some issues with it, and I'll get to that later. I do want to showcase off this. This area was kind of converted into this retroactively, and some of the aspects were converted into the second level, which is that, like, rock mountain right over there. But this is essentially would be the third level, and what this would be is you would like walk through the teleporter, and you would be, this would kind of be where it introduces more surreal aspects to it. You would have a lot more moving platforms, you would be like forced to do a lot more precision platforming and such. But I kind of want to save the precision platforming part for later. I want to get the physics like really worked out with this, because this is using the default Unreal Engine movement, which can be a bit floaty at times, and while it does its job, I just do want it to be better. But the idea is here right now, I just want to like draft it more and such. But that's for another time. And yes, it's like, I do think I want to play around with the portals a bit more, just because I do really like that part of it. But, yeah, for now though, sorry about that, my dog's barking in the background, but, when you do, like, after that first area, you would go to this area right here, which is like this kind of caved-in area, and the idea I want to go for with this is that even though it is more claustrophobic, whereas that area is, like, feels like very atmospheric and almost like abandoned, this area would be a lot more active. You would see a lot more torches. It would be a lot more lit up. You would have like little like various rest stops, like so right here's a bench and such. But also, this is where you learn the dash. This is where you would actually have to use the dash ability. So by completing that area, you would be given this ability by pressing left shift. You would fly across. And again, this isn't like, it's not implemented in a way that I want to. I want it to be a lot more deliberate, similar like Doom Eternal per se, or like Devil May Cry 3, to where in which it's like it sets you off a certain distance. This one, it's a bit more physics based, so when you press left shift, it kind of jumps you up, but when you do it in the air, you just go flying. I want it to be a lot more precise, I guess you could say. And that's another thing, I do like movement in action games, which is why I'm glad a lot of first-person shooters, like the newer Call of Duties, and also like specifically Borderlands 3, have actually sliding mechanics when it comes to like your character's movement, just because it adds a lot to the mobility of the game and makes the overall combat more interesting. Not that by default it was working badly, but anyway. So in order to get across this, you can kind of tell by this gap. And also you don't really have a lot of like room to jump up. You gotta dash, so boop. And then like the difference between this is like, well, that area you're going up, this one you're going down. And again, like more hints, like obviously all these orange cubes are just templates, but you have this bed area right here that would be like another rest stop and such like that. I think I'll put some NPCs here as placeholders. But yeah, and then you'll have like more floating rocks, like a bit more harder platforming, as the platforms are a lot smaller. And this is where you'd be introduced to moving platforms. And as like other things, like just take into account that if it's like a block, it's just a placeholder. In this case, like these are just meant for testing. But yeah, like you'd be introduced to moving platforms to where once you have to platform from them. And this would be kind of like the final areas, so I gotta design more of it. And obviously, one other thing is like I'm gonna have these be like walled in, so in which like you wouldn't be able to see that platform, but you would be able to see this one right here. I gotta see, like, this is another part I want to like really test out, is the fact, yeah, that's gonna need some more testing, is the fact that I ideally want it to be where you can platform back upwards, but for now that's not gonna happen. But yeah, I should be able to get this done within about 2 weeks or so in terms of like getting it all like designed outwards. This area obviously needs to be entirely like textured and such like that, but for now it is working. It's working fine for the most part. I also want to be more specific. I think I'm going for more of a fantasy setting, which is like, I say that because I will have to delete this sign, but that's not going to be too much work. In fact, I'm just going to, actually no, I'll keep that for now just because I do like the way it looks, and it's a good temporary item for when I actually get like something I do want. But yeah, so for now it's like that's essentially what I got. I'll be posting regular updates. Sorry about my dog in the background. I'll be sure and make sure I'm in a more quiet environment later. But yeah, that is essentially my game, and I hope to hear back from you guys later. Have a nice one. Bye.